I've been hiring cybersecurity professionals for over 30 years, and I can tell you some of these beginner certifications are worth every penny. Some are stepping stones, and some are a complete waste of your money. The problem is nobody ranking them as actually hired security professionals. I've ranked every beginner cybersecurity cert that's worth ranking by what it's actually worth to you. I'm Nathan from StationX. After helping over 500,000 people into cybersecurity, I'm scoring every one of these on hiring power, knowledge, and cost. And some of the results surprised even me. So let's start at the bottom, C tier. C tier doesn't mean these certs are useless. It means if this is the only cert on your resume, you have a problem. The Microsoft SC900, do that first, covers Microsoft's security stack, identity, threat protection, compliance. If you're going to work in an enterprise environment, you're likely to encounter these tools. Almost every large company runs Microsoft, and at $165, it's the cheapest cert on the list. But this is an awareness badge, not a practitioner certification. There's no hands-on component. It doesn't expire, which sounds generous until you realize that's because Microsoft doesn't consider it serious enough to maintain. If the SC900 is your only cert, you don't have a real cert. You have proof you watched some Microsoft Learn modules. Tack it on alongside something real. Never pursue it as your primary security credential. Now, the other C tier cert is more interesting. The EC Council CCT. 10 of the 60 exam questions are actually hands-on practical. You're in a live cyber range, you're solving real problems. That's genuinely rare in entry level. Most beginner certs are entirely multiple choice, but nobody knows what this cert is. Ask 10 hiring managers, ask 10 security people if they've heard of the CCT, and you'll get 10 blank stares. The EC Council brand is also complicated. The controversy around certified ethical hacker affects how the entire certification lineup is perceived. It's an interesting exam with terrible brand recognition, and at about $1,000, $999, you're paying a premium for a cert that far few employers recognize. This is the one to watch category rather than one to get. If you're finding this useful, by the way, hit like and subscribe. More rankings like this will be coming. So those are the certs that won't do the job on their own, but there are certs that are genuinely useful, just not as your main credential. B tier certs are real certifications with real value, but each one comes with a specific limitation that keeps it from being a universal recommendation. You've got the ISC2 Certificate in Cybersecurity, or the CC. The barrier to entry here is as low as it gets. The exam is free through the ISC2 1 million certified in cybersecurity program, still active as of early 2026. Free training, no experience required, and it's backed by ISC2, the same organization behind CISSP or CISSP. That name on your resume carries real weight, even when the specific cert is newer. And since gaining DoD 8,140 approval across 20 work roles, the CC's biggest former weakness, credibility, has been eliminated. But let's be honest about what you're getting. The CC doesn't go deep. This is foundational awareness, not practitioner level knowledge. Some employees still don't recognize it either. And the $50 annual maintenance fee means free only applies to the exam itself. You'll pay $150 over 3 years to keep it active. It's the best stepping stone in cybersecurity. Start here if you're testing the waters, or if you're budget conscious and need something on your resume while you study for the real target. But don't stop here. The return on investment is technically infinite if you treat it as a stepping stone, not the destination. The Cisco CCNA Cybersecurity. This is the only entry-level cert built specifically around SOC analyst work, security monitoring, host-based analysis, network intrusion analysis, incident response. It maps to the SOC analyst job description more directly than any other cert at this level and what we're talking about. Quick note on the name. This cert has gone through 3 rebrands, unfortunately, in about a year. It started as Cyber Ops Associate, became something else, and landed on CCNA Cybersecurity as of February 2026. Same exam, same material, except some confusion in job postings for a while. Don't confuse this with the regular CCNA. That's Cisco's networking certification, which has serious industry recognition. This is different. This is a separate exam, separate track, focused on security operations, not networking. At $300, it's one of the cheapest certs on the list and the most role specific. If you truly know you want to sit in a SOC, then pay attention to this one. But it's Cisco-centric. The tools and workflows lean towards Cisco's world. If you end up in a non-Cisco shop, some specifics won't transfer, and it's less universally recognized. Fewer ATS filters scan for it. HR departments are less likely to know what it is. And one warning though, SOC Tier 1 is changing fast. AI is automating the triage work, the alert matching, the playbook execution. That's happening now. This gets you through the door, but plan to move into Tier 2, Tier 3 of SOC. Don't stay in Tier 1. It's getting automated by AI. Those B tier certs are solid for their specific use cases, but if you want something with broader recognition and more strategic value, we're moving into a different category. The A tier is where the certifications start carrying more serious weight. These are certs that make hiring managers pause on your resume. So we've got the ISC2 SSCP at $249 US dollars. This goes deeper than anything we've covered so far, and it costs less than you'd expect for that depth. It covers the domains that actually matter in day-to-day security work: access controls, operations, incident response, encryption, and so on. If you have a relevant degree, it substitutes for the 1-year experience requirement for this certification. Recent graduates can earn it immediately, and it's the on-ramp to the CISSP, which most security professionals are likely to want eventually. Same vendor, overlapping domains, lighter scope. But the 1-year experience requirement is a real gate for people without a degree. The associate pathway exists, so pass the exam, earn a provisional title, build the experience within 2 years, but it adds complexity, but you can put it on your resume. And outside of ISC2 aware organizations, few employees recognize it. This is the underrated pick, more depth, less money, and it puts you on the CISSP track. If you have a degree and want to stand out from the crowd, this punches above its price point. The GIAC GSEC. Now, this one needs a conditional. The GSEC is, in terms of quality, the best entry-level cert available. SANS training is considered high standard. in cybersecurity education. The exam is open book because the point isn't memorization, it's whether you can apply the knowledge. Forbes reported roughly an $8,000 salary premium for GSEC holders. Employees who know GIAC respect it enormously. Now here's the catch and why it's not in the top tier. The exam alone is $949 US. The recommended SANS training course is $8,500 on top of that. So extraordinarily expensive for what you get. You can get every other cert on the list combined for less than the cost of the GSEC. So the rule's simple. If your employer offers to pay for SANS training, stop this video, go sign up. That's a no-brainer. At someone else's expense, this jumps straight past everything else on this list and to the top. But if it's coming out of your own pocket, drop it right down the list. So we've covered C tier through to A tier, but there is one cert that sits above everything else for beginners. And the reason might surprise you because it's not the most technical and it's not the most in-depth. It is the CompTIA Security Plus. The cert appears in roughly 70,000 job postings in the United States alone, and that's the CyberSecurity data from 2026. The only cert that outpaces that in terms of overall requirements on job specs is the CISSP, which requires 5 years of experience, and of course there isn't beginner. So it's a different conversation entirely. Security Plus is the baseline for government and military cybersecurity roles. Department of Defense 8140 approval as part of it as well. You've got the ANSI accredited with it as well. No prerequisites, anyone can sit it. If an entry-level job listing mentions only one cert, it's almost always this one. And what separates it from everything else on this list, it doesn't lock you in to a career path. So you can also do SOC work with it, penetration testing, GRC, cloud security. Security Plus is a relevant foundation for all of them and all of the security roles, which is great. Every other cert on the list is either too narrow, too expensive, or too unknown. Security Plus is none of those things. At $425, it's not the cheapest cert on the list, but the return on investment is measurable in your first month of employment. Entry-level holders typically earn $55,000 to $80,000 US. It does have an issue, and I won't sugarcoat it. Security Plus provides you an understanding of cybersecurity concepts. It does not prove you can do anything with them. The exam is primarily multiple choice with some performance-based questions. You can pass it without even touching a firewall or a SIEM or a command line, and employers know this. The Security Plus alone rarely gets you hired. It clears more HR filters than anything else at this level. But once your resume reaches a human, they're looking for evidence that you can actually do the work. So you need to combine it with home labs, projects, capture the flag platforms. Those are what turn Security Plus from a piece of paper into an interview conversation. We put Security Plus at the S tier, not because it's the deepest or the most technical cert on the list. S tier, if you're a beginner, you're paying your own way, and you can only get one cert, then this is the one. Now, I've ranked these 7 certs, but your situation is different from everyone else's. I built a free certificate matchmaker that tells you exactly which cert fits your goals, your budget, and your experience level. Check out in the description, help you with how to choose your certification. But regardless of which tier you choose, which cert you choose, there is something that matters more than the cert itself. 96% of people who just get certified never get hired. That's not a guess. I'm tracking this across thousands of students, and there's also third-party studies. When a resume lands on my desk, I'm not counting certifications. I'm looking for evidence that the person can actually protect my company. Today, not in theory. Can this person do the job, or can they pass a test about the job? If the answer is just the test, you're in the 96%. The cert gets you past the robot. The practical experience gets you past the human. You need both. Study for the cert, but while you're studying, build something. A home lab, capture the flag portfolio, a personal project, an agent that can do security tasks. You can talk about these in your interview then. That's the difference between certifying and getting hired. The short version, if you're brand new, budget conscious, start with the ISC2CC. It's free. Get familiar with the cert and exams, then move on to Security Plus. If you can only pick one cert, Security Plus, no question. If you know you want SOC work, look at the CCNA Cybersecurity, cheaper and more targeted. If you have a degree and want to stand out, the SSCP, more depth, less money, CISSP track. And if your employer is paying, the GSEC, don't even think twice about it. Whatever you pick, pair it with practical experience. That's the formula. And if you want help with that part, the practical, the real projects, the career coaching, and a done-for-you resume, that's what the master's program is for. Link in the description, along with the link to our accompanying blog on these specific certifications. And if you want to know the top paying cybersecurity jobs that no one's talking about, check out the next video.